today to introduce our guest speaker, Croall, Heather Croall. Get the name wrong. Who's the CEO and director of the Adelaide Fringe. Most of you will know Heather. I think she's been speaking here at our Rotary lunches for about the last 7 or 8 years to give us an update on what's coming up with the Fringe this year. And it's also Heather's 10th year in her position here. So I'd like to welcome Heather, and she'll let us know what's going on at Fringe in 2025.
Thank you so much for having me back. It's always great to come and talk to the Rotary group. It's fantastic to see lots of familiar faces as well. And each year I try to give a little snapshot from the program of shows that might be of interest. The Off the Press program has only just landed. It's being distributed around the city at Foodlands and cafes and so on tomorrow and the next day. It should start really appearing in your local shops. But you've got a little sneak peek. It's really hot off the press. The program consists of hundreds of shows, 1,300 or something. But it's in around about 500 venues. So just so you know, Fringe is everywhere. It is probably in your own suburb as well, not just in the East End. So this is my job, is to try and give you a little snapshot of what you might like to see. On any other day, we might have some different shows in this snapshot because there are so many shows and 8,000 artists. But let me see if we can talk you through some tips. I would also like to acknowledge that we are meeting on lands of the Kaurna people and pay my respects to elders past and present. We've just launched the program. As I said, it's coming out on the streets, and you will see that that will be everywhere, hopefully, so you can pick it up and take some for your friends as well. We've got lots of venues returning. There's about 500 venues. The classic, iconic, large hubs like the Garden and Gluttony, they're returning. But also, a lot of the, as you know, a lot of the Fringe happens in bricks and mortar venues all over Adelaide and even out into the regions of South Australia. So Holden Street Theatres is fantastic if you're looking for plays and theatre shows. The Rhino Room, if you like comedy, the Rhino Room is great on Puri Street. We have a fantastic venue in the Courtyard of Curiosities, and that's at the Migration Museum. Again, it's one of those venues that's easy to get to, easy to park, not too busy. Lots of lovely small shows there, some fantastic music there. We have a fan of the Courtyard of Curiosities at the back there, because I kept seeing you there last year, I guess. Now that's a really fantastic venue to keep in mind, because it's right there, just off North Terrace on Tintor, easy to park. There's also Woodville Town Hall is a fantastic venue, a beautiful theatre. It's been renovated, and we've got some really good shows down at the Woodville Town Hall. Some of you know about the theatre that's at the Adelaide College of Arts in Light Square. Again, a fantastic theatre, very accessible, easy, parking areas are around there, car parks and so on Light Square. And stunning, world-class, international festival quality dance shows are in there. I really recommend that you check out their program. And there's also the Don Polsky Centre on Angus Street, has a 360 planetarium dome that we're putting inside there. And those shows can you sit back on a beanbag and you'll fly through space or go deep diving underwater. Really amazing shows, and some of them are fantastic for kids. So if you've got grandkids or family members, that want to take kids, the Dome is fantastic. Lots of really good shows for kids, but there's also shows really great for adults as well. So really amazing. Holst's The Planets is one example where you get the whole music piece of Holst's The Planets, but you are looking at incredible footage taken by the UK Space Agency throughout space. So I recommend it, something different. There's also the Lab, which is also on Light Square, which is a wonderful venue as well. But as I say, there's 500 venues. I recommend, especially I often get told by people that they're a bit overwhelmed by the sort of numbers or the hustle bustle in the East End. And of course the East End is really great for some, and it's too busy for others. But all I would say is if it feels a bit overwhelming, there's lots of fringe shows outside of that area, and especially the music shows we're seeing now happening in all sorts of places. So just at a glance, what happened last year at the Fringe? We had 1,484 shows. This year we've got something similar. I think we're a little bit down to 1,300. Similar number of venues, 500 plus. Last year, for the second time, we sold 2 million tickets. So, amazing. Like, first event in Australia to ever sell 1 million tickets, apart from the Olympics in Sydney, I think. We had 5 million attendances. So a lot of people come out, say 4 or 5 times. Well, maybe they come out 8 times to the Fringe, but they might see shows twice. And that's fine too, just being part of the atmosphere, soaking it up, and so we really see the whole place come alive. The average spend of our tourists has gone up a lot. Years ago, tourists used to come to Fringe and maybe stay one night and spend about $600 in their experience of hotel and so on. Now they're staying around about 6 or 7 nights on average, and they're spending about $4,500. It's a massive injection into the economy from tourists now. So we had almost 60,000 tourists come, and years ago we were around about 18,000, 15,000. So it's really shot up. We've worked hard to get interstate campaigns and awareness interstate and overseas. So that it plays a big role. And that 1 million tickets that we sold, actually around about 300,000 of them were bought by those tourists. So we never would have hit 1 million tickets if it wasn't for the tourists. So, really see the tourists as a very important part of our whole Fringe delivery. So we have the First Nations cultural tours. They are really wonderful. It's a free event on Sunday the 16th of February. And they go for about every 20 minutes they go through. And you get taken on a guided tour in the Botanic Gardens, exploring native plants, bush tucker, and the chance to experience a traditional smoking ceremony. It was really popular last year. I recommend it. It's good for all ages as well. We have 4 ambassadors this year, and the ambassadors play a big role helping spread the word for us. So Michelle Brazier, Reese Nicholson, Teresa Palmer, and the wonderful singer-songwriter who lives here in South Australia, Nancy Bates. So they are going to help spruik the word of the Fringe. Some of you may have heard last year we did Sleeps Hill Tunnel, which is a bit of a forgotten piece of history in Adelaide. It's a tunnel in Panorama, and it's just as you go up Goodwood Road, Foodland on the right there, you go up left up Grandview Drive, and that takes you there. You can park really close, it's very accessible. Last year was absolutely sold out, just packed, and it's only in the daytime, not in the night time. So it's about 10 a.m. to 6 p.m, and the sessions are every 15 minutes, and you spend around about half an hour in the experience, and people just loved it. The projections and the installations are all about the history of the tunnel, when it was a steam train passage from 1880 till about 1920, and then it became a mushroom farm for about 50 years. It was a mushroom farm, growing most of the mushrooms that we used to buy in shops. That stopped, and then it was just closed down, and it's been closed down for a long time. And even in the 40s, actually, or in the, sort of in World War II time, the gallery and the museum put a lot of their artworks and collections into this tunnel to protect it in the risk of any invasions. They were protecting the artwork and the collections in that tunnel. I really recommend it. It's about a 400 metre long tunnel. As I said, it's wheelchair accessible as well, and it's a great thing for all ages. Some shows that I thought might be worth giving a shout about. What I've got on this presentation is the same thing as what's on your, it's called Information for the Rotary Club that we've just put together, so you can even take this home if you like to look at some of these shows. So A Migrant Son is a fantastic story of growing up in Coombe, brilliant songs. It's really mainly a regional touring show this year. She has done, Michaela Berger has done this show in the Adelaide Fringe before, in Adelaide, but this time she's really taking it to the Flinders Ranges, Coombe, and Keith as well. So the Keith Mitchell Theatre in the Northern Festival Centre, sorry, that's at Port Pirie. So another great female, South Australian female singing show, I Am Woman, with Amelia Ryan and Libby O'Donovan. That's a really great show. It's been done Cabaret Festival, done the Fringe, and it's coming back. Hans, Young and Fun. Hans is turning 21, so he's back again. He's re-aged significantly. I'd like to point out this one on the top right-hand corner, Still Alive and Kicking. Fantastic Adelaide Jill Hicks, who was the last person who was rescued in the London bombing in 2005. And she's unbelievable. She's an incredible speaker, great storyteller, but she's a fantastic singer as well. And she has a band. And they sing these wonderful songs. She tells the story of the day of the London bombing, what happened, getting on the public transport, getting rescued. It's just an unforgettable show. And she's only doing it one day at the Woodville Town Hall, February 23rd at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Great parking at the Woodville Town Hall. But Jill is taking this show to London to be part of the commemoration of 20 years since the bombing in the middle of the year. So this show, the last time it will get played here before it goes to London, is on this day. So I highly recommend it. A lot of other great shows there. French Suite is really great French jazz. That's down at Plant 4 in Bowden. London Calling is just a really high energy variety show, a bit of a Las Vegas kind of show. It's top shelf. It's a good show. And then we have on this page here, we've got a great storytelling piece here, Grandpa Poseidon. These are British theatre show that come every year and do a number of storytelling shows. You may have seen them before with Helios and all sorts of shows that they've brought, really engaging. This one's good for younger kids as well. There's a fantastic theatre circus type show coming from Japan, and that's called Yoa. That's in Gluttony, and there's, as you see here, there's also the bottomless limoncello spritz. That's something that's growing in the Fringe. We're having people putting on eat and drink shows. So you go there, get some drinks, have some food. It's learning about maybe the winemaker or the spirit maker. They give you a little bit of a talk about what they make. It's a really interesting genre that's growing in the Fringe at wineries and various places. Comfort Food Cabaret. She's another fantastic Australian Adelaide artist, Michelle Pearson. And again, some really personal stories and fantastic singing as well. Thunderstruck, a night of classic rock. That's actually in the Light Square Theatre, the Arts Theatre there, and it's quite an an interesting blend of a violinist who is, now I think he's from London, and then Lewis Major's dance company, which is from Adelaide. And so it's a classical interpretation of things like AC/DC songs, but done with classical violin and classical band. And they're doing the Light Square, but they're also going on tour around the whole of the state. That has been created for the Adelaide Fringe, that show. On the next page, we have in the Dome a show called Letters from Australia. And this has been created by some artists in Plymouth, in Cornwall, in the UK. And it's actually based on letters that they found. They've been handed down for 5 generations in their family, this packet of letters from people who moved here from Cornwall in the 1880s and writing about their experience, their homesickness, their discovery of what life was like here. And the letters have been handed down for many generations, but not sure what to do with them. So these artists in the family have made this dome experience that uses the letters and traditional Cornish music and so on. It's really an interesting history piece, and that's in the Dome in Donpolsky. The Mushroom Whisperers is time-lapse footage of fungi growing, but a lot of this mushrooms and fungi. A lot of the footage has actually been used by David Attenborough, and it's award-winning. They're very high-class cinematography work behind it. And there's going to be a live band, a flute, I can't remember, didgeridoo. Sorry, this is Lauren. This is Lauren, my EA, who has helped me make all this, and she reminds me about things. Please give Lauren a round of applause. She helps me put it all together. So the Mushroom Whisperers is beautiful. That's going to be at the Piccadilly Cinema. It's only a couple of nights. Celestial Guardian is out at Carrick Hill. That would be quite a beautiful show as well. A mixture of science and understanding the rhythms of plants, and they plug these machines that they've invented to the plants, and the actual vibrations from the plants dictate what light and music comes out. And that's at Carrick Hill. If you like magic, Charlie Caper is a big hit every year and an award-winning magician. Lewis Major, a beautiful dance show called Triptych, and that is really but that's been all over the world. It's been invited to festivals all over the world, and they're a local Adelaide company, and they've used Adelaide Fringe to springboard themselves over the world. Animal Crackers is they're a collective of flute players, and that's at in Courtyard of Curiosities as well, I think. Yeah, that's at the chapel. And the Courtyard of Curiosities was so popular last year that they've actually expanded into a couple of venues in the library, in the State Library as well. So again, just like really nice, familiar venues, but they're turning themselves into live theatre shows for the Fringe Month. So another place to explore. The Adelaide Baroque Quartet, playing at some really great, they're playing at Murray Bridge and also Strathalbyn, but they're also playing at the David Roche Gallery in Melbourne Street. Yeah. And that's going to be beautiful there. It'll sell out. It'll sell fast. There's Elton John fans. There's Benny and the Jets. That's the 64 group that their seasons always sell out, but they've got a new additional show. Some things that work well for the kids. The Giant Balloon Show. We've got, for those who like musicals, musical theatre, Broadway, off-Broadway. And there's the music of Burt Bacharach, that's at the Rising Sun Hotel in Auburn and Clare. And that is a great venue. They have very good shows. If you ever want to just jump out to the Clare Valley and go and see shows at the Rising Sun in Auburn. And it's, really great setup out there. Another one for the jazz lovers in the Jade, Jazz Could Happen to You. Simply Brill is another great South Australian trio that have created that show. Talk about the singer-songwriters of the Brill building. It's quite an incredible story. In Victoria Square, we also have venues in Victoria Square. Another great venue, really, because there's the tram that goes there, there's buses, it's near the Central Market. It's really nice to have shows in the Victoria Square precinct. We've got Elixir. It's a lot. There's actually quite a lot of acrobatic shows in that venue. One for the kids, the Glow Squad show. The concert band Jazz, that's at the Burnside Ballroom. Just a couple of shows there. And Victoria Square also does have quite a lot of kids shows. And then one thing I didn't mention as well was the Gravity and Other Myths, which is a South Australian acrobatic show. They're back again. They've got 10,000 hours, and what's the one? The Mirror. I think it's called The Mirror, their new show. So that's a good one if you like that sort of those sort of shows. I wouldn't mind mentioning John Pedder actually. Is John Pedder on there? Yeah. So John Pedder is the winning artist. Every year the Adelaide Fringe poster is a competition, and we get about 600 entries from all over the world. And South Australian artists have won it quite often, but every now and again an international winner. And we haven't had an international winner since 2012, so quite a long time. But John Pedder won this year, and he is a wood block printer. So he actually carves his art out of wood. It's an ancient art form, one of the most ancient art forms, wood block printing. So we were thrilled to have a wood block printer as the winner for the artwork for the Fringe, and you'll start to see it all over the city. But he is coming over from England for an exhibition, and he'll have that opening in the Metropolitan Hotel, and the opening on the 27th of February at about 5 o'clock, and it'll then run for the next few weeks as well. But beautiful woodblock prints that he makes. So if you're ever near there, it's just near the festival, Her Majesty's Theatre. We're also hitting Fringe across the state. So in the guide and in this piece, you can see this in the guide and on here. You can see there's 20 plus shows up in the Eyre Peninsula, up in the Flinders Ranges, York Peninsula, Barossa Valley, the Murraylands, down in the Limestone Coast, the Fluria Peninsula, Penrose, and many shows in the Adelaide Hills as well. And there's lots of shows in the suburbs. So be sure to have a look on the website of the venues that wherever you live. Like I spoke to someone who lived in Prospect, and Heidi, happy birthday. And Heidi lives in Prospect. There's lots of good little venues out in Prospect. I spoke to someone else from Woodville, same thing. There's lots of good shows in around that area as well. We do try to do a lot of work helping people that are disadvantaged and can't afford to come to the Fringe. We raise funds from donations and apply for grants from all different areas to pull together money, and then we buy the tickets for disadvantaged communities to go to the Fringe. And I think last year we bought almost 6,000 tickets. So we work with a lot of, in order to disperse the tickets, we work with a lot of organisations that are helping families in need and children in need and so on. So that's something that we work hard to make sure that the Fringe is inclusive for everybody. So even if people have financial difficulty, they can still come to the Fringe. We help them, we buy their tickets for them. So that's something that we love doing, and we love all donations and contributions to the community funds make a massive difference. And then we also give artists grants, particularly artists that are facing disadvantage. A similar program there, we raise donations and apply for grants, and then we disperse all that money to artists to help them put on their shows. So all of those monies that we raise, we never keep any of it. We always spend it or give it out to the artists and give it to the communities who need it the most. And we work to, obviously we try and work with everyone to make sure that everyone knows about Fringe. I think in Adelaide most people do, we run more campaigns interstate and so on, but also we're working hard to spread the word about the community fund, make sure people that are facing disadvantage know that they can still be part of Fringe. And we work with many, obviously all the media outlets in South Australia, and Acclaim Adelaide, In Daily, The Advertiser. You might see we're back at The Advertiser. Lots of good reviews. You'll be able to follow lots of stories in the In Daily and The Advertiser, but also all the other there's so many independent media outlets that work with us to help spread the word of how to Fringe, what's on, and also how to sort of buy the tickets. And we spend a lot of time trying to make it easy to buy tickets. So we provide a call centre. We have anyone with access needs. There's a special phone line for people to be able to call. We're one of the last ticketing services that have humans on the phone.
Oh,
yes.
We love you.
Yeah. And we have the box office. You can go there. You can ring our call centre. We just want to make it easy for everyone to find tickets. So we try to make the online ticket booking as simple as possible. So always give us feedback if you find problems with it. We like to try and fix them. Every year we try to make it easier. There's also a special access guide that we make, which is if anyone has any access needs at all, we make a special guide that outlines all the shows in there. So hopefully that makes Fringe accessible for all. And thank you so much for listening to me go through some Fringe tips.
I think we've probably got time for a couple of questions, if anyone would like to.
Hi.
This is just a practical question. Like, how does one actually become a Fringe show?
Okay, good question. He asked, how do you become a Fringe show? So we are an open access festival. Everybody can put on a Fringe show. And so anyone who wants to put on a show, we open our registrations middle of the year. People can register their show. We have built a whole system on our website that helps people find the venue that would most suit their show. And then they talk to each other, the show and the venue have a discussion. Yes, they agree. So, Holden Street will obviously be contacted by more theatre people. Rhino Room will be getting contacted by comedy. The Courtyard of Curiosities will be contacted by small music shows and theatre pieces. I mean, there's a flavour to each venue. So, there is a curation that happens with each venue. And then they work out what time their show will be. So 6 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 1 in the afternoon, whatever. Our platform is the platform that their registration and their time, we've built the digital platform that makes it all work. It's a bit like registering a house on Airbnb. Right, so and then when you go onto the Fringe website, all those shows are there, but we don't want you to have to look at all 1,400 of them, 1,300. We try to make filters. So you might say, well, I only want to see music, and I only want to see next Saturday night. I don't want to see all, and then it will only show me shows in a particular venue as well. If you see the filters, it will say where, so you can say where. And if you only want to see Holden Street, just say Holden Street, or you can put a few different venues in there. That'll really help you narrow it down. And so it's a bit like if you're on realestate.com and you think, I want to find a 3-bedroom house and so on, you can start adding the filters. We've based a lot of our search engines on the most user-friendly websites, and So anyone can be in the Fringe is the answer. It's unless you're doing something illegal, that's no. And we won't be having that. And then obviously we want everyone to feel they can come to the Fringe. And as what we've found over the decades is that people that loved the Fringe in the early days, who then went on, grow up, have kids, then they start to say, well, we still love the Fringe, but we're now looking for kids shows. So then you'll see that the program will respond to the need, like the growing of the kids and family genre has come out of that desire that people want more, take their kids to the Fringe. Then people want more, we've seen a lot more jazz, a lot more blues, a lot more sort of various music coming into Fringe because of the requests from audience. And that's why I think Fringe is a unique festival there's not many festivals in the world that you see people who are 1 year old up to 100 years old, all coming, all the generations, a family of 4 generations at Fringe is quite common. And I think partly it's because anyone can be in the shows, and then anyone's welcome in all the seats as well.
Probably got time for one more question.
Yeah, Heather, I recently saw a really good show on SBS, I think, about the Edinburgh Festival and some of the famous people that have started there.
Yes.
Stephen Fry, people like that.
Yeah.
And is there anyone in particular that started at the Adelaide Fringe and become famous?
Yeah, well, there's endless names of people that have started at the Adelaide Fringe and catapulted into the world, and they're touring the world. A lot of them have ended up on television. There's so many big names that have then took off from Fringe, and a lot of artists actually say that's why they come to the Adelaide Fringe often, is because it's where they can get their launch pad. So I think I like to say there's just lots of them because I don't have one favourite, but there are so many. Yeah. Did you have a question?
No.
Okay.
Fabulous.
Well, thank you very much, Heather and Lauren. I won't forget you this time. It's wonderful that you put yourself available to come and talk to us each year.
Really nice.
Just to let you know, all the monies raised today will go to a Rotary charity, and we'd like to present you with a banner from the Rotary Club of Adelaide, which you can proudly hang in your office.
Yes, I'll hang that in the office.
And
That's
we
great.
all thank Heather for her talk today.
Thank you.